Started with a milk crate on the cracked curb bare, crowd in a half moon, breath hanging in the night air. You had punchlines, I had proof in my veins. You swung with slogans, I carved through the chain. They talk in circles, I talk in lines, straight to the center, cut through the lies. I run the fade with facts, watch you fold on contact. You flinch, I stay intact, every premise stays exact. I run the fade with proof, you stumble out the booth, your whole frame comes loose while my logic cracks the roof. Upgraded from a street light to a ring light glare, chat scrolling like a riot, but I'm cool in the chair. You bring vibes, I bring structure. You bring rage, I bring range. You bring clips from your echo, I bring books to the cage. You swing with feelings, I slip and slide. Ask one question, your whole stance dies. I run the fade with facts, watch you fold on contact.
Let me see if I can get this thing to work. Be right back.
Started with a milk crate on the cracked curb bare, crowd in a half moon, breath hanging in the night air. You had punchlines, I had proof in my veins. You swung with slogans, I carved through the chain. They talk in circles, I talk in lines, straight to the center, cut through the lies. I run the fade with facts, watch you fold on contact. You flinch, I stay intact, every premise stays exact. I run the fade with proof, you stumble out the booth, your whole frame comes loose while my logic cracks the roof. Upgraded from a street light to a ring light glare, chat scrolling like a riot, but I'm cool in the chair. You bring vibes, I bring structure. You bring rage, I bring range. You bring clips from your echo, I bring books to the cage. You swing with feelings, I slip and slide. Ask one question, your whole stance dies. I run the fade with facts, watch you fold on contact. You
What's up, man? How's it going? Let me bring your screen up to my screen real quick. Give me 1 second because you guys are going to be live on my end. So give me 2 seconds real quick. Oh, there's like a delay in your end, I see.
With the low brim.
Oh, there's like a delay on your end, I see. Let me
Not on my
switch
end.
screens real
It's on
quick.
your end.
It might be on my end. Who knows? Let me switch screens real quick.
So while you're doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and read my monologue that I have here. Okay. Let me open up by saying something that nobody wants to admit in polite company. All right. Porn isn't here because men discovered it. Porn is here because it's protected, it's financed, it's defended, and in a lot of cases, it's quietly useful. Yes, men consume it, and we all know that. We have to own that, guys. We know that we have to own that. But if we're going to pretend like the entire system survives on men's weakness alone, you're either naive or you're just lying. You'll be back. Because here's the first obvious truth. The single OnlyFans girl, the content creator, the porn star, she's not accidentally in the industry. She's in it because it prints money. That's the deal. Attention becomes cash, desire becomes revenue.
All right, guys, that's the panel I'm going to join. Give me 2 seconds. Try to get back up here real quick. I had some technical difficulties getting on here real quick. Give me 2 seconds. We're going to jump back on to his stream real quick. I saw where the delay was, but we gotta ixnay out of that one real quick and then bring on the real share screen. Tonight, I just wanted to do a pop-up stream, but I didn't know Glenn was going to be on, so I'm just going to jump on real quick, bullshit with him real quick about this topic. It's going to be like 2 seconds. So.
Health issue, but because she's punishing him, controlling him, reshaping him, breaking him. So you know what happens next? She knows porn becomes a trap card because she'll cut him off. She's basically daring biology to behave like theology. She's demanding him to function like a monk while still operating like a husband, still providing, still protecting, still showing up, still paying the bills, still carrying the weight, while she treats intimacy like a reward system. And then all she has to do is catch him. That's it. Catch him slipping. And when she does, well, now comes the script. The one society has accepted without question. See, he's a porn addict. See, he's cheating. See, he's unsafe. See, he's immoral. And just like that, she doesn't have to answer the question she's been dodging for months or maybe years. Why is your husband starving in his own household? No, instead, she gets to stand on the moral high ground, use his failure as proof of his unworthiness, and justify continuing to deny him sexual access as if she's the victim of his betrayal. And if she wants to drop the nuclear option, if she really wants to take everything out, if she wants to clean exit with maximum leverage, she can push the divorce. And now his porn use isn't just a personal weakness. It's a legal and social weapon. It becomes the narrative, the justification, the cover-up story, and then she gets to cash out. Child support, half of his assets in some cases, and alimony if that applies. So what happens in the real world? Well, the porn star gets paid from his views and his subscription, right? The OnlyFans gets paid for the purchases that guy made, and the wife, if she chooses to get paid, she gets paid by, turning his porn consumption into a courtroom and a community cudgel. The same man, 2 revenue streams, 2 women benefiting. So when people hop online, pretend that porn is only a man's issue, understand what they're doing. They're protecting the female side of the supply chain. They're protecting the female side of the, incentive structure, and they're protecting the female side of the accountability gap, because people don't want porn to die. Well, not in practice, at least. They want men to stay guilty while women get to stay exempt. So until you actually start seeing women publicly call out other women selling this stuff and then holding wives accountable, just assume that this whole anti-porn talk is just virtue signaling. Because if they really wanted it gone, you would start attacking the whole machine, not just the man at the bottom of it. So what do you think? You weren't paying attention.
Not even for me, Glenn.
Well, you're the only person on screen, duh.
Because you were talking to the audience before. Now you're asking me questions.
No, you should have been paying attention.
I'm pretty sure that monologue wasn't for me, Glenn, by the way.
Yes, it was. I made it just for you. Okay.
You did not stop the cap. I know you're wearing the cap, but just stop the proverbial cap right now. I made it black enjoying my fried chicken. I was just missing some great.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Great drink.
Wait. Do you have Louisiana hot sauce? Do you have Louisiana hot sauce? Do you have Louisiana hot sauce?
No, I got Red Devil. It's the equivalent. Anyways, back to this though.
Hold on, nigga.
It's pretty accurate, but yeah. Back to this. I don't know why, man. Fried chicken just sets my soul afire.
You know what the funny thing is? I had some earlier, a couple hours ago. Okay, so seriously, topic though. I don't think women want porn to go away. Even the trad wives. I think it's their trump card.
So here's the thing though. Women want to be the main attraction, but they also don't. If that makes any sense. Like, it's conditional, meaning like, if I can have it my way, like rules for thee, but not for thee, they can do everything that they want to do. They can have phallic objects in their closet and in their shoe boxes and all that stuff. But the moment that you do anything to try to get your right hand pregnant, oh, it's a no-no thing. It's all of a sudden bad. Like the rules for thee and not for me, the conditional pornography thing is really bad. But I think that for me, I think abstinence from trying to get your hand pregnant, if you're married, is a really good thing, especially when it comes to pornography, things like that. So
my whole thing is, I don't think that when I hear like Ali Beth Stuckey or even like Lila Rose, or who was the most recent one? I forgot. Somebody I saw him post. Oh, the thing was Lila Rose on Twitter saying something like, porn needs to be, we need to destroy the porn industry. Right. And it's just like, yes. We need to stop men from watching porn. Men need to control lust. And I'm like, well, statistically speaking, the majority of porn consumers are, and OnlyFans supporters, like people paying for subscriptions, are married men.
Yeah.
So why are these married men watching it?
I think that there should be an abolishment of this. I mean, I would agree with them, but I'm not going to be virtue signaling while doing this. I think solutions have to be practical, and we have to be forthcoming about this. So when people say, I was going to debate Dusty on this whole pornography abolishment of this on Modern Day Debate, I don't know if James is going to write me, but he takes forever to write me back. But the thing is, though, is when we talk about this, people can talk about, you're creating a black market, but I mean, look at insert like Singapore. Are people spitting gum on the sidewalk? No, they're not doing that. Matter of fact, gum has been abolished, and it does.
Yeah, you get caned.
Streets are clean.
You get caned out there.
What's that?
You get caned out there.
Yeah. See.
They'll beat you like you stole something.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that we should have something like that instituted here in America. There should be a response for the approach. But the problem with pornography and banning this with Ali Beth Stuckey and Lila Rose is there's nothing that's prudent and justifiable for the level of what they're saying is a pun. Like, it's just, don't do it. Oh, it's just bad. But there's never an entailment, like an outcome that happens. But here's the thing, though. you can't make men suffer if women are the creators too. There needs to be a holistic approach to this.
See, that's my whole point though with it. It's like you can't tell. So if you're married and you're withholding it from your husband, right? You are opening that door for temptation. So he does slip in and fall in there. It's almost like you're setting him up for failure. Not saying that he shouldn't be able to, control his urges. But at the same time, I'm saying that, like, if you are failing to do your job, right, and not meet his needs, then he's going to go elsewhere. It's just,
well,
it's human. Not saying all men, but you know what I'm saying. Like, the
no,
temptation's
I agree. There should be special case circumstances. Now, here's the thing, though. If you fail to perform your duty, there should be something societally, not shame. And I'm not talking about like shame. Oh, shame. Like, that's not going to work for modern women. We should have something to the level that's equal or greater than what men would get for doing this nationally if you don't fulfill your duty. Now, they'll say that you're turning us into like sex machines or anything like that. But here's the thing, though. Men have to go to work. They have to be the breadwinner, most likely because that's what women want, and pay the bills. What happens? We suffer no matter what. So there has to be a duty that's a functional equivalent that we do and a punishment for that. I think that nationally, I haven't really came up with anything, but there should be a functional equivalent outcome of some action. Like, I'm not going to say disciplinary action, but something equivalent to that. If a woman doesn't perform these duties, there should be like a fine or something like that. Like, it should be something substantial for sure.
Mic check. Am I good now?
Now I can hear you. You probably touched your mic because you have the same mic as I.
Yeah. So I think what should happen is like, if your husband catches watching porn, okay, that's bad for him. But the first question I'm asking is, why does he need to watch porn? Like, I mean, yeah, him doing is bad. I'll get to that, but I need to know why first.
So
I know.
I'll tell you a story real quick, Glenn. So I went to AA before. I'm not an alcoholic, but I went to it because actually, I'm going to out myself a little bit. I had an addiction to pornography when I was in a long-term relationship a long time ago, right? And turns out that when I was in this long-term relationship, the reason why I went and what I found out, pornography addicted people.
Because the girl that you were in a long-term relationship with,
she wasn't having sex with me in this long-term relationship. It was like 4 years and nothing was happening, right? I was frustrated. But that's what kind of AA meeting it was, right? It was for that usage. So I went there, and what was funny is there's a bunch of Christian men, and I went there and I got like a coin because I had abstained from pornography for like a month, right? And here's the thing, though. The reason why I went to the computer and ran to use this and look at stuff was because our bedroom was cold. Yeah. I had a cold bedroom for the whole 4 years in this long-term relationship. And here's the thing, though. When I came there, we're all supposed to talk about our stories and stuff like that. And I know this is an anecdote, but we're going to go into it. I told the group and I said, listen, it's been another cold bed night and I had to sleep on the couch. And this was like, by the way, I was a mad liberal during this time, flaming liberal, right? So this is
wait. When I don't want you to say the word flaming, because flaming kind of meant flaming.
No. I don't mean that, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I was a real liberal during this time, because if you're a liberal, you're flaming. Let's be honest.
Okay.
How's that not accurate, though? If you're liberal, you're flaming during that time.
You're going to hell. I mean, for sure.
Right. Well, what liberal isn't gay for being liberal? If you're liberal, you're gay. That's my whole point.
Okay.
So, right. Okay. I was a flaming liberal. That's accurate. So let's be accurate about it.
You're gay?
No, I wasn't. But if you're liberal, you're gay. That's my point. That's what I'm saying. So I was liberal during this time, like madly liberal. And I was like, I'm sleeping on the couch. Nothing's happening. We have a cold bedroom, this and that, right? So needless to say, I went to the meeting and I said, hey, listen, it's another cold bed night. I'm on the couch because something didn't go right or whatever. Whatever, even though I worked like 3 jobs during the time. And these guys cornered me after the meeting. They said, hey, listen, Marte, I'm going to be honest with you. all of us are getting sex in our household with our wives and our girlfriends, whatever that is. All of us are having sex. You're watching porn because you're not getting sex. And I was like, what? I'm not what? And I thought everybody was there because their wives were refusing them sex. No, we had people at the meeting who were like, their wives were throwing it at them and they still chose to look at porn. There was probably like 13 people there during the meeting when their wives were throwing it at them and they were like, I don't feel like it tonight. And they were choosing porn over their marriage. So understand that there's a massive aspect to this where they have it available at home, but they still go to look on screens, look on their phone and everything else. I might have been, actually, to be honest with you, I might have been the only one at the meeting where it's like, my wife at the time wasn't giving me anything. And it was like, damn, that's the only outlet I have. So I was like, okay. So that's my whole point, is to tell you, like, there's a influx of men out there who will tell you, and I'm not, railing against men here.
Like, okay, but my question is that
they'll
those
tell
guys,
you they're bored in the bedroom and they still choose porn over the woman.
Yeah, but my question is like, are they choosing porn over their woman because that woman has let herself go and they can't tell the difference between her, or her belly button?
Well, so that would be another issue, but
that to me is just as bad. Like, okay, because if you let yourself go and you're trying, because women are trying to make themselves ugly these days.
But right? Just understand, at the meeting, I saw more than half these men's wives, and I was like, she's hot, and you're not sleeping with her, because I guarantee all of them were like, well, this is my wife, and I don't know, I'm just kind of bored, and I'm like, why? She goes to the gym. Like, one of them, she went to the gym and she was in shape. He was like, it's the same thing. Like, I was like, what?
What do you think the percentage is of men that are like addicts that need to be in meetings and the guy that has a dead bedroom?
Are you talking about the people that go there and have dead bedrooms? The percentage?
No, I'm just saying how many, the percentage of guys that are, the Christian men that are consuming porn, or just the married men that are consuming porn. How many of them do you think are just complete addicts? And how many of them are there because are watching it because you think they're watching because they have a dead bedroom?
Well, the majority when I went, because I can only speak anecdotally, were there and their wives were literally throwing it at them and they were admitting this.
I'm not talking about at that meeting. I'm talking about like overall in America.
That's almost unfalsifiable unless I have like data to give you.
Yeah.
Like I can't demonstrate that or prove that. I only have an anecdote. That's it.
I can say anecdotally from the guys that I have talked to that have, I've coached and stuff about this. A majority of them, their wives stop being interested. Their wife loses interest at some point around like year 4, year 3, shortly after the kid is born. They lose interest in sex, or everything kinds of go into this like autopilot, and it's I got a headache, not tonight. Do you always think about with your dick? Like, come on, so there is this decline in interest, or libido. So I'm wondering how much of this is all based on like guys having an addiction problem, or guys that are really suffering from their wife not being available to them. Because there's two different camps here when we're talking about this problem. There's the addict that you're talking about, the guys that are in these programs that need some serious help. And then there are guys that are watching this stuff because their wives, like you were in a 4-year relationship with no action, right? So how many guys do you think have been are suffering from in your position compared to the other?
I was the only person that admittedly was like, the reason why I'm at this addict meeting is because I was getting no action. The other men there was like 37 men or something like that there. They had it home and they were available because it was available for them. But a lot of them, when I asked them, I was like, well, because we weren't supposed to talk outside the meeting, we're only supposed to have conversations in the meeting. I don't know if this is the equivalent to like what they do in AA, but this was kind of like that. But I asked him, I was like, listen, why don't you want to sleep with your wife? And he was like, man, he was like, it's just she says the same stuff over and over again, and it just gets old. It's the same box. And I was like, what? And I said, why don't you like why don't you be creative and let her be Tina at the bar and try to pick her up and pretend role play like she's a new person or something? And they're like, yeah, but it's still my wife though. Like I've heard that by the majority of men in meetings that I went to.
No, I mean,
Just being honest with you, bro. Like,
no, I agree with you. I'm not saying that they're not men that suffer from that. I'm just trying to like quantify like, because a lot of guys have talked about dead bedrooms, their wife, not being available to them, or chore play being brought up. These are
yeah,
all things.
But Glenn, here's the problem that you're going to run into. I'll give you an example. How many men report being abused by their women?
None. Because
do you think a lot of men are going to be forthcoming and say that their wife's not going to sleep with them the same way? Probably it's going to be few. It's probably not going to be that much. So there's probably more men that are probably having dead bedrooms than thought, but also that can go the other way around too, to where it's like they also don't want to report the fact that they don't want to sleep with their woman too, because they're like they don't want to make it look bad, So we don't know. We can just speculate about this.
Because she got fat, right?
No, not that, because I know a lot of people. I'm in the fitness industry, so I know a lot of women that go to the gym. And matter of fact, so here's the other thing too, is we're a little bit older. So I'm telling you, around 30, women's hormonal distribution in the endocrine system starts spiking at 30.
Yeah, trust me.
Right. So if it starts spiking at 30 and men slowly starts declining, that's probably why that happened at the AA meeting, and why a lot of men are like, man, I don't want to sleep with my wife. And she's like ravishing horny.
Like a AA meeting. Was it like Sex Anonymous?
It was like Sex Anonymous. It was like a Christian version of that. Yeah.
So this is what I see. Right. When I hear women virtue signaling, because it means virtue signaling. If they're only addressing men's consumption, it's virtue signaling. Okay, it's just virtue signaling. Because if you want to solve the problem,
I can agree with that.
You're gonna point out both problems. All right, I'm gonna point out the addict. Like, okay, the war on drugs. You agree with the war on drugs, right? Okay, so when the war on drugs, are they arresting the drug addict only, or are they going after the drug dealer as well?
They should go after the drug dealer as well too. Yeah.
So the war on drugs is going after the addict and the dealer.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's how that's a holistic approach on how to address that problem.
That's what I was saying the first time. I think a holistic approach is better. I think that both parties should have some type of disciplinary action, some infraction happening on their end. The problem with this is, Glenn, is it's one-sided towards men, and women are continuously being the producers, and they're not getting encouraged any penalties or anything.
That's exactly why I said both women are getting paid. That's why they don't want to get rid of it, right? The OnlyFans creator gets to make their money, make their content, and get paid from subscriptions or views. However they get paid, they're getting paid off the husband that's not, that's watching it. The wife gets paid when she gets to find out and uses this thing as a reason to now divorce him. He has a porn problem. He's a porn addict,
Well, we need to overhaul in the system. Like the courts need to actually have something holistic that we can talk about. Meaning holistic, meaning like we can look at both sides. It's fair, firm, and consistent on both sides. To where the court's saying, well, how many times did you fulfill your duty as a wife? Because they never inspect any of this stuff. They'll look at the duty of like your pay stubs as a man, because you're supposed to go to work, you're supposed to and do all this. But as far as the wife duties, that's not existent in any courtroom endeavor when the
and that's why
woman at all.
And that's why I say women, until I start hearing women start calling out the women that are making the content, it's all virtue signaling.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we could say it's virtue signaling, but I think that both parties should be held accountable just the same way. But if do that,
let me ask you this: if I punched you in the face and we started fighting, and then you punched me in the face, right? Should you receive the equal punishment for what I did to you, even though I'm attacking you, right? And you're just engaging in this fight because you're trying to survive. You're trying to get out of that, right? You're trying to win.
Well,
Like,
that
but
would be a different.
You
That
didn't
would be
instigate the problem.
a false dialect. Like that would be a
Well, what I'm saying
false
is,
equivalent, I think.
well, so if the wife started this, she instigated it, right? And so she opened the door for this. He falls into it after however long he pushes, tries to make things work with her. And then he finally slips, and then now she uses that against him. Well, she would never have to been able to use that against him if she never made that issue open to begin with.
But here's the problem. The reason why it's a false equivalent, Glenn, is because if I hit you and then somebody has it on video, or there's a mouse on your eye or something like that, I can prove that. So when it comes down to the court of law, it's about what you can prove. It's hard to prove that a woman isn't sleeping with a husband.
Well, I'm talking about principally. I'm talking about principally, like principle wise, right?
Right, but this has to come, if we're going to have any kind of disciplinary action, you have to be able to demonstrate it or prove it. And it's hard to prove. That's the problem with women, is like, they'll say, well, no, I've been throwing it at him, and he hasn't, like, there's no way anybody can prove that. And she's clearly lying. Like, so nobody can prove that.
So then what is the fix? There has to be some penalty, that she should have to endure if she's going to use his now consumption or his supplementation of this thing that because she's refusing to give it to him. You see what I'm saying? Like, she shouldn't be able to like take, his porn watching and be like, oh, now because I caught you watching porn, even though I'm not going to acknowledge that I'm not giving you any, but because now you're seeking it elsewhere, I am going to use this in court to get half of everything.
There's a way that people can go around doing this, and I can demonstrate this clearly for you, Glenn. So what men can do, and women will catch on really quick, so we're going to have to be a step ahead of the game. What we're going to have to do is say, hey, listen, we're going to go to counseling for the reason why you're not sleeping with me. And we're going to have, this is going to sound stupid at first, but I'll make it make sense.
You say counseling, it started off stupid. No,
right. It's going to sound stupid at first, but I'm going to make it make sense. So the reason why is because you're going to say, hey, I don't know why you're not sleeping with me. And like, let's say she gives an excuse. She says, my libido's down. I don't know why I gained weight or something like that. They go to counseling. Now, here's the part that's beautiful about this, the gravitas. I'm going to pour this on. It's documented. So when you go, and then the therapist is going to be like, yeah, she admitted in counseling session that she's refusing to sleep. Now you can prove this. You have a therapist who's a clinical professional that can go to court and saying, yeah, it's been documented that she's refused. But other than that, you can't prove that. Yeah, it's a stupid entry level into like right. Proving. But to me, it's about what you can prove, and that's one method of doing that.
No, I think you're right. I think that's actually a good idea.
Yeah.
So like for a fail-safe, guys need to take their wife to therapy before they start watching porn.
And think about it. The reason why it's brilliant, and the reason why it's brilliant is because even though the psychology department has a replication issue and it's stupid on its face, you and I both agree on this. It's the documentation and the proof and the paper trail that you can get and garner, because now it's a professional's word and your word against hers in the court of law. So when you have this, and then not to mention this, here's where women are going to eat this up. Oh, he cares enough to go to counseling, because guess what happens? Whenever men get sick, we don't go to the doctor. We don't seek help because we're tough or private. We don't ever ask for counseling. But the moment we do this, oh, he must be genuine. He never asked for counseling. Yeah. she's gonna bite.
No, I mean, yeah, I agree. I think it's a good process. Like, all right, guys, before you get busted for watching your porn, all right, you need to take your wife to counseling. All right, get that documented. So, and show that you're going for a few months, or something, and
well, no, it's not the few months. It's not the longevity of this. It's the documentation. It's if it's written down by a professional in the industry who can vouch for you, and that's a third party that's non-biased, because a professor or a counselor is supposed to be non-biased. Like a priest that has confession, they're supposed to be non-biased, forgive you. Like we have these third parties that's a perfect third party that can go to court and litigation and say, hey, listen, it's been documented and I can vouch for him as a third party, non-biased professional that she's refused sex for 3 months, right? And then not only this, but if they can document this, it's not your word versus hers. You now have more ammo. And that helps
Can
a
you
lot.
use that?
That's what I'm saying.
Could you use it in divorce court? Like, like that's not violating HIPAA, would it?
No, well, here's the thing though. It's not going to violate HIPAA if you say, hey, as long as both of us show up at the same time for these sessions, I think it would be different is if she showed up by herself and it's supposed to be private.
Okay, yeah,
But
it
if
was
you
like
show
private.
up with her and you say, hey, I'm going to document this, and then she says, hey, all of this will be documented for both of you. So that way it's that your party and his. But here's the thing though, one of my chatters says something that's very crucial that I'd like to say right now. Regardless, single or married, he says, shouldn't be watching porn. I totally agree with you, Relentless.
Nobody's disputing that.
Yeah, nobody's disputing that. We're saying I'm against that. But here's the thing, though.
The fact that all men fall short. We know
Right,
that
right.
all men fall short. I'm not saying it's a matter of like. I'm saying it's more of a matter of when.
So,
Okay?
but here's the thing, though. I'm saying never. You should never watch this, no matter what.
I agree with you.
But what I'm getting to is preventative maintenance. That's what I'm saying. Preventative maintenance, because you have to maintain your stasis away from that. And in order to do this, if she starts doing that, like she starts refusing, you have a cold bed, I think the counseling thing is a good approach. Even though I don't agree with counseling, I don't agree with any of this BS.
Yeah.
The documentation in having this, so that way when you go to court, because there's, Glenn, let's face that. When you go to court, it's her word versus yours. But if you have a third-party professional that can vouch for you in court and it's documented, the judge is going to be like, yeah, why would they lie? It was both of you in the same room, and she admitted this. And it's been documented and written down because they're going to have dates, times, and it's going to be logged down. The professional can't lie. They're not going to risk their license, and it's like the judge is going to be like, yeah, you didn't sleep with him. You're going to be penalized. Like, that's literally what's going to happen. And it's a beautiful thing that if it ever happens.
Well, I mean, I also think that they should put something on the books to where they would get penalized if they failed to, take care of their husband. You know what I mean? Like if your husband is like, okay, well, why'd you cheat? Because she's not available. And he's able to document it and prove it, like with the counseling or whatever. That should go against her. That should actually be a fault divorce on her end.
So here's the thing, though. I'll read something to you right now that I just saw, because I've known this, but I'm going to tell you it doesn't get enforced. Yes, adultery is technically a crime in Arizona under ARS 13-1408, making it a Class 3 misdemeanor punishable by jail time, fines, and probation. But it's rarely enforced and requires the offended spouse to file a complaint, with courts generally focusing on the child's best interest in custody cases, not infidelity itself. So what I'm saying, though, is the reason why it's hard to enforce is because it's hard to prove. I just gave you a demonstration of how you can prove infidelity and also proving a cold bedroom, all of this. I think that's a beautiful approach, even though counseling's stupid. We both agree on this. But I think it's the documentation that's extremely important that men are missing.
Well, I mean, I think chore play, no man should ever do chore play, even if you're in a dead bedroom situation. Okay, I did a video about this a long time ago. I'll share it with you real quick.
Says that her husband, Dax Shepard, has been working on his chore play. By the way, we didn't know chore play.
We don't even know what this is.
We didn't know it was a thing.
But apparently it is.
Yeah.
Because they're doing it. So what it means is Dax Shepard was outside doing
what's
some
he doing?
work. And he was doing it so that Kristen would look out the window and see him.
What is he doing? Is he power washing?
He's much more muscular than I thought.
Yeah, me too.
Wow.
Look at that tank. Okay, now I'm okay with that tank top, actually.
Short play. Let me just explain to you guys this about chore play. If you find yourself in a situation where your wife is not giving you the ass, if forever you think that picking up a mop or vacuuming the fucking living room is gonna get her pussy wet, the answer is no, dummy. I don't care what these broads tell you. And they try to act dumb like they've never heard of chore play before. These old birds have probably invented the bitch, okay? Let me just tell you that. You know what chore play makes sex turned into? When you do chore play, you are taking something that's supposed to be a desire and you turn it into a transaction. Okay? Now, let me ask you this. Like, if you had paid for sex, would you pay your wife for it? Or would you go get the supermodel? I'm just saying, if you're gonna go get a prostitute, you might as well make sure she's fine as that. If you like this.
I just think that, so I'll introduce something to you. So in the Orthodox
your
Church,
wife
we
a
have a
prostitute.
very communal setting. So the wife will go to confession. I'll go to confession. Our priest would know us both very well. He'll know the problems. We can nip this in the bud. So I think that when we have a very devout community, I think there's also shame as well too. There's also this. So it's almost woven in. We can prevent this. So here's another thing that never got brought into this conversation, Glenn. If you're going to marry somebody and you're going to make somebody your wife, you need to be able to vet this person thoroughly. Now, I know everybody in the audience is going to say, yeah, but she can still change after 5 years of vetting. I understand this. But if you go to church and she has to go through like 2 years of being a catechumen and all that first of all weeds out people who are sewing circle Christians. And then our community of Orthodox Christianity, if you're in Orthodox Christianity and you're a woman, you definitely appreciate the patriarchy, because there's no way you're getting into this if you don't appreciate the hierarchical nature that we have within the church as well, too, especially the Theotokos. We appreciate that. But we also have this. It's kind of baked in, so that prevents a lot of BS that happens. Now, it doesn't prevent anything from happening. Like, it's not an absolute measure. It can still happen. But that's one thing. But I think that if you could still vet throughout the marriage and then keep your foot down and hold this frame that you have. Like, I know red pill people say this, holding that same frame and just not being weak and letting her lead, like this chore play thing. That's a very weak thing to do. You're letting her become the leader and decide who's the man in the house. No, you decide this. That's crazy.
So, but like, okay, the framework is there. I get that. But we know the reality is, like, most people are not going to go Orthodox, or even if they even go to Christianity.
I don't know why not. To be honest,
you know, the majority of them are going to go to like this fluffy, evangeli version, and where like
the
they have,
67%
like, Jesus,
divorce rate version.
yeah, the one with Jesus is my boyfriend worship music.
There,
all right.
Orthodoxy has only a 9% divorce rate. And then, not to mention this.
Yeah, but they're like less than 1% of the population in America.
But here's the thing, though. Wouldn't you, if I gave you a solution, even though, like, let's say I have clean drinking water, Glenn, this clean drinking water will save everybody's life, but it's on a mountain. It's a hard trek to get to. But the sewer water that everybody wants is easier to drink. Wouldn't you take the extra time and effort to get the clean drinking water?
I would, but you know that they won't. Most people won't.
Right, then they're stupid. They don't want the solution. If I gave you a solution and it's right there in front of you, even though it's 1% of the population and it's only a 9% divorce rate, because it's a lot of hard work. I don't want that. I don't want to have to go against my passions and suffer a little bit. That's crazy.
No, I'm not disputing that. What I'm disputing is that we could say that even if they went Orthodox, I think we both know that there are probably couples still dealing with the problem. So it doesn't remove the problem completely. There's still probably women that are denying their husbands. There's still husbands, even in Orthodoxy, that find themselves looking at pornography, due to being denied. Like, I'm not saying that it's not a huge curve, but I'm pretty sure that there's probably people that do suffer from it, because like nobody's perfect. We all fall short. So to assume that like this is not a problem, even in the smallest of issues in that community, I don't know. I can't say that you can't. I don't think it's undisputable saying that it's zeroed out. Like,
I'm not saying zero, but you're still speculating when you say probably and if and maybe.
I'm not putting a number on it. It could be one person. I'm still saying like the it's not 100% foolproof.
Yeah, but
Would you
but
agree?
if you have a 9% divorce rate, that kind of sums up a lot of this, and I would lean
But-
more towards like, okay, maybe there's less problems there
Or,
because there isn't a high abuse rate for sure. That's not happening.
well, I mean,
it's like
okay, so
they're not
are-
getting beaten to stay in those marriages. That's not what's
the
happening.
question is like, what is like okay, because I hate when people use like length of time as a metric for longevity or like healthy marriage.
No, I'll never do that because you can be in a miserable
Yeah.
marriage for 57
Exactly.
years. I agree.
Yeah. So like, just because the divorce rate is low, and I'm not trying to get into between like, the beef or anything or cut beef. I'm just saying, just because the divorce rate is low could be socially they don't want to divorce because they like their social group. They don't want to be ostracized from their social community, so they just stay married. I'm just saying, it's speculating here. Like, not saying that that's not a possibility or that's the reason why. I'm just saying that
So
I know a
here's
lot of
the
people
other
that-
thing I'll agree on. So I think you'll agree with me on this. Remember, I'm very solution orientated with the counseling thing because I said it's going to sound stupid, but it's going to make sense, and it made sense to you, right? This next thing that I'm going to tell you is going to make a lot of sense, but it's also going to sound really stupid. Now we have these things that we call prenups, right? They can get broken. We've seen Dr. Dre's fall through. All this, it sounds really stupid, but I'm going to make it make sense as well too.
Well, I'm going to have James Sexton draft up. He told me he's going to make it ironclad.
I'd love this. I heard you say this to me before, but I'd love to see this. Matter of fact, I'd love to be on when you read this off. But this is the thing I'm going to get to. So we should have a prenup, and I think that there's nothing that shouldn't be included in a prenup, no matter how ridiculous this can be. I think that prenups do mitigate a whole lot, and it's been demonstrated that it does. It's not an absolute thing, but I think that if you can have the prenup, hey, minimum sex 2 times a week, something like this. And then if you can have the prenup to say 2 times a week sex, and if I don't do this, like you can figure out a way to go ahead and word this to some degree, have her sit with you. And matter of fact, James Sexton, I'm glad you brought him up. The person that you should talk to before you get married shouldn't always be a priest. Of course, you're going to talk to him or pastor, whoever it is. But the first person you should talk to would be a divorce lawyer because they've seen more deaths in marriages than anything else. If you go to a divorce lawyer, it'll be worth the $300 that you pay because he's going to tell you what he's seen and what led to the divorce and all this other stuff. I think that that's a wise bill of pay. So this is what I'm getting to. If you can have in your prenup 2 times a week, we'll have sex or something like that, and meet with your priest, pastor, whoever this is. I would say priest, first of all. But anyways, if you can meet after having this prenup and then think about the counseling for documentation, should it happen, but don't word it in the prenup saying, hey, if you fail to do this, we have to go to counseling 1 time the next week. Meaning I'm documenting it. She doesn't know this, but I'm documenting it the next week. So if you've been in law enforcement before, right? You told me this, right?
Yep.
So you've heard about people stacking paperwork on you.
Oh,
That is
yeah.
a bad thing, right? What you're doing in this relationship now is stacking.
Padding the file.
So the next week, let's say that she misses out 1 time and she doesn't have sex. Now, you don't have to put the hammer down, but if this becomes a common occurrence, you said, hey, you know what? Remember what the prenup said? We're going to counseling next week. And then she admits the next week with you, and we have to do this together so that way it's not HIPAA. We go to counseling the next week, and she says, yeah, I've just never been in the mood. And yeah, I did agree to do this, but I don't know. I just didn't feel like doing it. And next thing you know, it gets documented 57 times. Now you're in court. Now the prenup holds up, and what's backed up by the still case prenup is the counselor writing documented information. You see what I'm doing? Now I'm bolstering this claim that I go to court because she had an agreement, broke that, went to the counselor. We have a confession, admittance, documented by a professional. You see what I'm saying? And I have a third approach too that's even going to help you.
Now you look like you're the one that's trying to provide a solution to it while she has been the one neglecting it and wanting to.
Yes,
dismiss
but
it.
you see how this looks favorable on you in court. Now we want to prevent court from happening. I think that this is a great idea to even stave off going to court because she sees you making attempts, but she doesn't know that paperwork's being stacked against her or it could be used. But she agreed to this. Matter of fact, it's not like, she was stupid the whole time. She knows what she was getting into because the prenup explained everything.
It was like,
She's willfully agreeing to all this. That's the beautiful part about all this.
but like, you don't think that she's going to say that, well, she only signed that out of duress? Because
No.
you were like,
Because in the prenup and everything
decided not
else,
to marry her?
you're gonna say, because women have gotten out of prenups. I'll tell you how women have gotten out of prenups. I saw a TikTok and there was a woman saying that, hey girl, this is what you do to get out of prenups. Write down that you got drunk this day or document you on the TikTok saying you were drunk that day that you signed the prenup. That kind of null and voids it. What you do is tell her, hey, we're going to be sober this day. You're going to write down that I was fully aware of what I was doing. And just make sure that you word this to say that you are fully conscious and aware and agreeable in what you are doing and you are under duress. You need to have this verbiage in that contract. I think that's extremely important. If you do this, you're actually bolstering trust in the relationship, believe it or not.
So I'm gonna share with you what James Sexton said when we were talking about the problem today with men and women. And hold on one second.
So Glenn, I do have 5 minutes. I got to go because this.
Cool, because this only takes 2.
Okay, cool.
Here we go. Say is like the most uncommon or the most common unspoken expectations that detonate marriages today.
So I think the problem in marriage today is the problem that we're having societally, and that is that nobody knows what's expected of them anymore. So I think growing up as a man who's now 53, growing up in the 80s, a man could either be Richard Simmons or Clint Eastwood. Those were like your two choices. There was nothing in between. You were either gay or felt nothing and were like a ninja. And the truth is, I don't think either one of those fits the majority of men. Like the majority of men, we have stoicism in us, we have all those other things in us, but we also have sensitivity in us and compassion in our hearts and love in our hearts. So I think that rightfully, society said, okay, we got to figure out women can be strong and domineering and take charge and can handle all the amazing things. Women can be doctors and surgeons and lawyers. Women can be anything and men can be anything. I think women
from one extreme to the next.
When women are a good spouse, they're being told, right, but are you a girl boss? Are you out there crushing it in the world? Are you running the show? Are you or if you're running the show and you're a CEO and you're but are you a good mom, a good wife? Are you good at home? And if you're a good wife, are you being submissive to your husband? Because that's terrible. You should never be that. And, but also don't be too domineering of your husband. So it's everyone's just going, well, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know I'm doing it wrong. And there's a chorus of people on the internet telling me I'm doing it wrong. And men, it's the same thing. Be tough, but don't be so tough, and be compassionate, but don't be such a pussy. There's so many people telling us we're doing it wrong. And now we're looking at our spouse and it's oh, they're doing it wrong too. They're doing it wrong. And if they were really my soulmate, if they were really my other half, my seashell, whatever you want to, then they wouldn't be doing it wrong. They'd never fail me. They'd be perfect, just like in every movie I've ever seen, a person's other half is. And that's what's happening.
What would you say is the most?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's pretty spot on. Man, that's the guy that's seen more death than a mortician, or just as much, proverbially. So, I mean, that's crazy. But I wanted to, here's the thing though, Glenn, I will never be on your podcast unless I'm going to try to bring a solution or to try to bring a new idea here. I don't want to be on here and just being because it's an echo chamber. I will also push back against you if I feel like your ideas are bullshit. Just be honest with you. And I'm pretty sure you'll do the same thing with me. But I like the fact that when we do get together, we're honest and transparent. And when we do have ideas, I do think that if you're liberal, you're gay. I'll still stick with that. You're flaming. So your mic's muted, by the way. Yeah, you're still muted.
I want you to admit that you were gay.
There you go.
You were gay one time in your life when you were a liberal.
No, let's fix that. I was not. homosexual, but I think that if you're liberal, you're gay. Is that correct? If
I
you're
think that
liberal,
works.
you're gay.
Yeah, to me, it works. It's fine. It's
Okay.
totally fine. I think
Okay,
you
so-
need to add on your tweet, like if you support the patriarchy and if you know birth rates, you got to throw them out there. If you're a woman on the right and you are not addressing, calling out the women that are making porn, you're part of the problem.
Oh, you saw my tweet.
Yeah,
You must have seen that.
I think you need to add that. I think you need to add that at the end.
You know what? I could do that, but I wanted to call out the women on the right, because there's an influx of women who fight against these women who are staving off marriage and babies and all that on the right. They'll do this. They'll go to TikTok and do debates. They'll go to YouTube and do debates and all this, but they're not looking for a relationship. They're talking about the birth rate that's declining, but they won't to be a solution-oriented person about this. And I'm like, if you're going to be a monastic, then just preach abstinence, and that's it. Why are you in this fight? If you're doing the same thing that these women are doing and not producing anything for the birth rate, we're not adding numbers to the planet or doing any of that stuff. So it's like,
Yeah.
that was my biggest gripe. And I was thinking that nobody was really looking at that tweet. I guess not. But anyway,
You didn't throw it into the void. It landed on my feed.
it's supposed to be for the void and not anybody directly.
My bad. Gosh. I won't
But
reply
yeah,
to it.
I'm actually going to leave because there's a priest. His name is Turbo Qualls. He looks like Forrest Whitaker, but he's an Orthodox priest. The guy's a badass, man. The guy's super bass. So I'm going to meet him in about 30 minutes. But yeah,
Nice.
pleasure being on your panel again. I appreciate you having me. Hopefully, I brought some insight here. And,
You did.
some good
You did.
conversation.
I definitely think that the recommendation of like guys going to counseling, I think that was huge, just as a documentation aspect of it.
Yeah. But
I think
just
that's a good
understand
idea.
that guys will avoid counseling because, of course, we're going to automatically think what you just thought. Oh, it's bullshit. But they'll never think about the analytical portion of like, everything is documented, right?
You're not going to counseling to have the counselor solve your problem because you already know that's
Right.
not going to happen. But you're going to counseling to get a paper trail.
Yeah.
So you could be a Karen and be like, "Excuse me, here's my receipts."
Yes. No, not Karen. You're going to be Matlock. Remember that detective called
Yes,
Matlock?
yep,
Matlock produced receipts in every episode that buried the criminal
that's true.
case.
That's true.
Yes. So yeah,
that's good.
that's all I'm saying is I wanted to bring at least some kind of insight to the podcast where it's like, I don't want
Yeah.
to be in an echo chamber with you ever. Never gonna
Neither
happen.
do I. We're on the same side on so many things. So when is your debate with Flo?
With this
Is it over? Is it really over? Like working out?
yeah. the guy's an idiot. I'll just be honest with you. The
So, like,
guy's
the
an
debate
idiot.
is, the debate topic is really like fitness is not healthy for you.
No, the topic is fitness should be mandated across the US.
Oh hell yeah, absolutely.
He's against it.
You know that we used to
That's your
have
boy.
it.
The guy who fights Christians all the time, the guy who rails against orthodoxy all the time, calls us non-Christians. Matter of fact, Beth said he's more Christian than Christians, which is crazy and ludicrous to say. I don't understand this.
So
The guy
they used
is
to,
a chameleon.
you know, back
at
in like
best.
the 40s and 50s, they used to like men who used to have to go train and show that they were competent to shoot a gun and stuff like that, because for the militias, men had to do this regularly. They had to show that they were fit to the point that they were able to, if they were called upon, that they would be fit for duty if we needed to have a militia. So it wasn't too many years ago that them men had to stay fit for a reason.
Well, I'd love to get into this conversation with you, Glenn, and it's not because I got to go. It's because I don't.
Because you're black and you just had some fried chicken and you got the itis. No, I'm kidding.
Well, no, that's actually facts, by the way, too. That's true. But anyways, back to this. I don't want to show my full hand before the debate and be like, "Well, this is."
No, yeah. I
and
just couldn't
flesh
believe the
out my
topic.
side. Yeah.
I just really couldn't believe the topic was fitness is bad. Like I was just like, this is an L. Like, how do you?
No. What you're doing is you're magnifying the IQ on the other opponent's side. Yeah, literally, that's what you just did right now. Is you hypothetically displayed his IQ level right now.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to see like what is he talking about the extremes? is like extreme fitness too bad? I would say yes.
You'll have to ask him.
Extreme,
But you're going to
man,
find out at his burial on Wednesday next week. Yeah, the guy's getting buried. Anyways, yeah, I'll say
All
that
right, I'll
to his
let you
face
go.
or anybody else. Run till that.
I'm gonna watch it because I think it's gonna have to be entertaining. Like this topic is so ridiculous. It's gonna have to be entertaining. Like,
Well, it's entertaining when he gets destroyed constantly. I've done it before.
I mean,
we'll do it again.
how could you not want it to be mandatory when like women are now 180 pounds on average?
They used to be
130
120. Used to be
Yeah.
120. Right? Now it's like
back in
180.
the 70s. Back in the 70s.
But hold on, if you're black, being 180 as a woman is normalized. Normalized. Because the heavy bones, right? The bones are heavy.
That ain't
So stupid.
that's lie. That's lie. You know what it is?
I'm big bone girl. That's what it is.
You just intimidated from us big bone women. No, I don't want to die.
It's all
choose
this
life.
ass I got. He just can't handle. And you know what black women do? Here's the thing that a lot of black women do. As soon as because what I do, I get hit on. I get hit on by black women all the time.
Same
Until
here.
I talk, and then I correct them on their link because I'm a grammar schnazi, by the way. Then they'll say, "Oh,
A grabber schnazi?
oh, you must be on the DL. You're gay if you don't like this." Like they automatically accuse me of gay if I don't like them. Black women do this often, and I see that. It's when they slide in my DMs or when they whatever, because they'll look at my photos because I have some fitness
Yeah.
photos up. They'll hit on me and I'll be like, "No, I'm good. I'll pass." Oh, that's why you gay. It's like they always run to this all the time, and I'm just like, what? So they can't. My theory is black women that are really hood can't handle criticism or get rejected. They can't handle it.
No, they can't. Actually, I just don't think women handle rejection really well, period, regardless of race, even though some people think race is not a thing.
Once again, you're exposing the IQ of my opponents. Once again.
Why don't you like debate somebody that's smart then? Okay. Why do
Then I would never debate Dusty then. That would never happen then.
it's
yeah.
well, it's called like
It's like you keep outing Dusty. That's good. I like
I'm
it.
not outing Dusty at all. Like,
No, you just hold on. No. You just outed him. That's fine. More.
I
I
think
need
it's
the
a dumb-
outing. This
it's a
happens.
dumb
Good.
topic. It's a dumb topic for sure. Like, I don't see how. I mean, mandatory. I agree. I think it should be mandatory. I think if it's mandatory, it could lower your insurance cost.
No, I
Like-
don't think it's Glenn. It's not a dumb topic. It's a dumb position to hold on the topic, which means he has low IQ. Let's be honest. If we're going to talk, we might as well tell the truth.
I just think the position is dumb.
The topic is not dumb, Glenn. I think America should be mandated.
Yeah, no, I think we
to
should.
be a fitness-orientated country. It should be mandated.
Yeah, no.
But it's a dumb position to hold on this topic, which means low IQ in his eye.
But
Jay
how would the
Jan
how
said
would-
racists don't exist, right? Dumb position to hold. But it's a good topic to discuss. It's just that these people constantly take the dumbest positions, the most uphill fighting positions ever. That's your boy.
so
Not
like
my
okay?
boy, that's your boy.
How would you? I'm trying to think. Implement it like from a federal level, right? Like, are you gonna have like a federal weigh-in?
No, wait.
once a year?
No, there's a way I could do this, but I'm not going to dive into this and show my hand.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear it.
I see what you did there, Glenn. It's
No,
not.
I'm just
I'm not
thinking, like-
outing myself here.
I'm just thinking like when you go get your driver's license, like you renew your driver's license.
No,
you have to weigh
there's
in.
a brilliant way that we do this. We've done this in the past, and I'm going to go over when I destroy your boy in this whole debate. He's going to get wrecked so fucking bad, it's going to be unbelievable.
I might just like restream your guys' debate and do commentary of it the whole time. Like, oh, there he goes. He's giving him the 1-2 combo. Oh, and Dusty returns with the swag
With nothing, with air, nothing. Miss, brick.
Knowing Flow, he's probably going to be creative with some solution, right? Like some reasoning why he's going to say, because he's going to probably go to the fringe. I'm thinking like he's going to be like, okay, well, what about the people that have type 2 diabetes and they can't work out? Working out, is bad for, they have to diet and everything.
He's
first,
going to
or-
have to. He's going to have
Yeah,
to
'cause this
reach
would have
for
to be a
straws.
fringe.
That he's going to have to do all the grasping to try to see if he can win this debate somehow, because that's
Or
the
what if,
only
like,
way he'll
somebody
think
has,
he'll
like,
even get any edge.
What if like somebody was like born with their heart inverted? You know, like those guys that are born with like their heart.
Oh, we're
plate
going to plead
gone?
to the exception to the rule here.
That's what I'm just thinking. Like that's gonna be
Even
the
if they
only
do
way.
that, it's more important that they have a more fitness orientated lifestyle, because they're higher chances, higher proclivity of illness and everything else. They need to bolster their immune system. Wow, what could do that? Oh,
I think
give
we
me your
should, like,
dietary response,
increase
your health,
the-
all this stuff.
We should definitely increase the cost of fast food. Fast food should be through the roof, and like groceries should be cheap.
No, I think RFK had half a solution to get
What?
rid of a lot of shit.
Was it like, because you know, like what in the UK or in Italy, they have like 400 things that are allowed to be, are approved of, like for like, the food, the FDA or whatever. For some reason, America has like what 4,000 things are allowed to be in there. They're all bad for you.
Well, that's because of industry right now and commerce.
Yeah.
Commerce has fucked shit up so bad that now it's like, oh, we have a Monsanto that's going to get in here. And then we have all these other companies that are like, we have another way that can make people crave French fries with MSGs and all this. And it's like, there's so many additives in food that they have to make it look like the commercial, but I never get the burger that looks like the picture. There's a reason why that happens, because we need to make the chemicals make this look like the picture. But if you get the real burger, the picture's not going to look that appetizing. No, we need reality on the screen and have people say, hey, that's what a real hamburger is. But that's what happened to the beauty industry with pornography. Going back to that, is we had this influx of social media to where it's like, now we have 50,000 filters. No, that's not what your girl really looks like. She's showing up to the date, but she doesn't really look like that when she wakes up. We do the same thing with hamburgers that we do in dating right now. And to these days, it's like, now when a girl's natural, she's ugly. And that's the stupidest thing ever. Because if you wake up and you have like a bare face or a naked face, that's ugly now, which is like that in the Donna Reed days, you're beautiful then. But somehow in social media, where we created all these 59 filters where women have to take 60 pictures. And this is what women do, which is very narcissistic, by the way. They'll take 60 pictures on a dating app, and then they'll pick the one on the right angle with the right shading and everything else. And then they'll put that up, but you're not going to put up the other ones that didn't make the cut. And I'm just like, no dude sits there and takes 70 pictures and tries to find a right. Like, but it's like, they want to call us narcissists. But it's like, no, that's more narcissist than anything else to take 70 pictures and to not leave your house without a cover. And I'm not talking about like clothing or burqa. I'm talking about like with chemicals all over your face. So the fast food industry has like followed suit. So has like the pornography industry, social media. Everything else is doing this. Now we're turning into walking materialistic people without even knowing this, through food, through beauty, through porn, everything else. And it's like, now we're so surface level that we've dumbed ourselves down to where we can't see the natural beauty, and we don't accept real life anymore.
No, I agree with you. And my biggest thing is like, when it comes to like this whole porn topic again, is like, I'll be real with you. Women don't want to get rid of it. I know they don't want to get rid of it. To me, it's a half-assed like measure. Like it's a half-assed measure to be like, Marte, stop watching pornography.
No, they do. They want to get rid of it, but they also don't. So
they don't want to get rid of it.
So if I'm married, my wife wants to get rid of it, but she wants women to still have it. Make sense?
Yeah. So therefore, she doesn't want to get rid of it.
That's the paradox. Well, she wants to get rid of it, but also it's conditional. That's the problem with
she wants to get rid of it so that you don't have access to it.
Yes.
Right. She wants to be able to control your sexual.
But she wants women to make money off of this because it's cool, and she's in the girls' club. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, I understand.
She also wants to be able to weaponize it against you if you ever do look at it, and then use that as a means to collect money from you by divorcing you.
Beautiful. So that's why I came up with my solution, stacking paper and all this other shit. So Glenn, at least I have a counter. So if I'm in a relationship, I'm going to have a counter at least. And let's say my future wife sees this and she's like, oh, I saw the podcast with you, Glenn. Yeah, cool. Accept it then. And then
like you already know. Just so you know, rent is due by the 1st.
but hold on though. Let's say she knows this and she's onto this and she sees this podcast that I put up of saying we're going to have the 2 times a week in this contract that we have, and then not to mention this because it's going to be a clause. right? Even though it's get broken all the time, we can say it, but it mitigates. And she knows about the counseling. And she's like, yeah, the only reason why you want me to go to counseling is I saw the podcast, whatever. She's agreeing to still do this if she really loves me. And then if she says, no, I'm not going to do that because I know really you're going to stack paperwork, all that's done was provide a better filtration and a vetting system to get
just
the
vetted
ones
her
that
out.
are, I'm dodging a bullet then. If she sees this podcast, well, good. You see how overall, even if she sees through the guys, it's still a net benefit, and I dodged a bullet regardless. It's still a vetting system. That's why men need to still vet women regardless, even if it's through podcasts like this and being open and honest. Like, don't not talk about politics on the first date or religion either.
I say guys need to vet their wives throughout their marriage. You got to constantly vet her. You never stop vetting. Yeah.
Well, a part of the vetting process is making sure that you don't change your frame, as they say, but never changing your belief system in your faith. If you're going to walk with Christ, make sure that you don't miss as much as you can. If you fall, repent as much as possible, get back up, get the hell back up, go to confess, do everything that you need to do so that way she sees, yeah, he's mortal, but damn, he's walking towards Christ. So I'm going to follow him just the same way. Women mirror men all the time. They do this often. They start copying us to some degree to where it's like, if you're a competent leader, she's going to mirror things that you do, especially if she admires you as a man. And
so I'm about to have this guy come on my a show in a couple of days or weeks or whatever. And his whole thing is blaming porn on men. It's all men's fault. It's all your fault. And do you know the type of betrayal that you are when you watch porn and your wife finds out? Even if she is not giving you any, it's your fault. And now how does he think she feels by her having to see what you're looking at and getting off to and it not resembling her? Like, now you're telling her that she's not beautiful enough. I was like, bro, I said, please come on the show.
Does he hold women to the same account equally?
Bro, I don't want to call him names because I haven't talked to him yet. But his argument is very shrimpish.
I don't know what that means, but I'm pretty sure I'll find out if you invite me as a guest.
It's close to like what rhymes with shrimp.
Glenn, could you please invite me on the panel, please? I'll be the most cordial person.
I just want to hear
I'll be such a gentleman. Just bring me on the panel. I'll be such a gentleman, and I'll be on the panel and I'll listen until he says some stupid dumb shit.
He's gonna probably come out.
I'm
sitting here. If you read some of the tweets of him going back and forth, I'm just like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, why are you saying this retarded stuff?
Yeah, well,
I'll send you the tweet so you can review it. You're probably gonna laugh.
Yeah, let me check it out. But Glenn, I would love to be on this panel if you have this panel, because I do love talking with people who say some dumb shit. Mind you, by the way, I have a debate with Dusty. That reminds me, next Wednesday. So, but back to this. I do have to leave. I appreciate you having me on the panel.
No problem, man.
Yeah, thanks again for having me. By the way, people, I did meet Glenn in real life. He picked me up from the airport.
Yes, we did. Actually, I'm going to be releasing that video because I actually just downloaded it all off my GoPro of everything that we did that whole time. When we drove down, we saw like the BLM riot or like the protests.
Oh, that was crazy.
Yeah, no, I captured all of it. So I'm going to be editing it and posting it up here soon. I'll tag you.
Did you picture me eating like some sushi? Because that's going to go against my fried chicken agenda.
No. Remember, we got the tacos. We had tacos. We had no sushi.
That's going against the agenda. It's fried chicken and watermelon, bro. You're going to blow my cover. Damn, man.
You just admitted to it, though.
Damn.
You blew your own cover.
No, I didn't, because that's Photoshop. That's verbal shop. That's what that was.
So,
it didn't really happen.
What it is, well, I'll just edit it to where we're at
verbal shop in real time. That's what's happening.
We'll go to Roscoe's. I'll have it edited to where we're eating some chicken and waffles, okay?
Yeah, they're going to be like, that's AI. Marte's eating AI fried chicken and AI watermelon. Is so stupid. Yeah, we're not going to do that, bro. You might as well be honest. Throw the tacos. Tacos are delicious, by the way, too.
Hey, they were good.
Anyways, I gotta go meet Father Turbo Qualls in 13 minutes now. I gotta run. All right, man. I'll take it easy. Christ is God. Talk to you later.
Of course. Take it easy. Peace. All right.
Damn, man, that was crazy. I actually just wanted to get on and just BS for a little bit. I didn't know Glenn was gonna be on. But I saw the topic, and then he was letting people up, and I was like, let me go talk to him about this whole pornography thing and these women, because I may have a solution. It's like maybe I got a solution here. Who knows, man? But I do know that as men, we have to be solution orientated. We can't go into a relationship or marriage and just say, well, I just got her and we're just here. Because so many men say that, dude. Well, they have this dramatic story. Matter of fact, when I do talk, let's be honest here, when I do talk to men who are just announced as being married or matter of fact engaged, let's get to that. The men look like they're going to a funeral. A lot of secular men. I don't meet a lot of Orthodox men that are getting married, but I'm pretty sure it happens all the time. I just don't see them. I want to go see an Orthodox marriage to where there's like the crowning and stuff. Probably one of the most beautiful things ever. That's why I want to go to an Orthodox. I want to be at my own wedding and see my own crowning. Would be awesome. I got such a great videographer at St. Ignatius and this other church. So it's like, that would be awesome. But anyways, when you talk about secular engagements, the men look like they're going to funerals. This is what happens. Like guys look, oh, I'm sorry, bro. You just got engaged. Oh, all right, man. Yeah. Like it's very somber. But if you look at the women's side, oh my God, what color is it going to be? Are you going to have arugula at the dinner? Are we going to have a dinner? Like it's like everything is beautiful and they're excited. Like they won the lottery. Meanwhile, the dudes are like, yeah, bro. So when's the wedding? When's it going to happen? Oh, cool. Like they're talking about a funeral. Like it's like this is how the mates are like. But I actually want to be happy, if it happens to me and there's going to be a crowning and a wedding and all this other stuff. Like, be pretty cool, man. I mean, that's what I'm looking for: family and kids and wife and all this stuff. But I mean, I do look forward to working my ass off, slaving and all this. I think somebody on a dating app just asked me recently. They were like, "Well, do you like school? Do you like that industry, this and that?" And I was like, it's not about what I like. I can learn to like something that I didn't like in the beginning as long as, the utilities there, as long as my future family is fed and everything else. Like, I don't like training. I'll be honest with you. My coach is beating my ass in the gym right now. Like, he's kicking my ass. I don't like training them, but I realize it's something I must do because I'm going to be more competent in defending my family. I'm going to be healthier and I'm going to look better, to be honest with you. I just don't like doing the work now that I used to. Somewhere the fire kind of died a little bit, but building it back up. But that's a good example. Like, I may think that the diesel tech industry may be laborious. I might say, well, maybe I don't like it, but I'm going to learn to love it. That's what I'm saying. So I have to think about it like this. I'm going to till the earth, as they say, and I'm going to slave away or do whatever it is that I need to make sure that my family in the future is utilized as a representation of Christ, the body of Christ. My wife, my kids, in the future, we have everything we need, and I am the rock which Christ is in me in this relationship. And that's what I want. I don't want anything less than that. I honestly don't. So I'll never, and that's the thing though that troubles me, to be honest with you. I'm going to start doing these solo TikTok raids by myself. I got to figure out, if anybody out there in the chat knows how to do like the TikTok thing where I can mirror it on here and I can do a live TikTok invasion with you guys. Like maybe I should message Andrew Wilson on how to do this, or Rob Noor or Jake or somebody like that. But I need to figure out how to do it to where I'm live on YouTube and on TikTok, because I don't know how to do that. What I do is I get my phone and I raid TikTok and I do the screen record, and then I post the screen recording later. That's all I do. So I want to be able to do TikTok raids and destroy these degens, these liberals and feminists. But this is my point that I'm getting at. I got to leave in like 2 minutes. But this is my point before we get down to it. I don't have kids, like little kids or whatever, and I don't have a wife. I don't have a nuclear family. I don't have a marriage. But I'm out there telling people that they should have a nuclear family, a marriage, and they should have kids, and that we have a birth rate problem and all this. And I'm not contributing to adding to the birth rate. I don't want to be a contrarian. Now, people can say, well, there are saints out there that don't have kids. Yeah, but these saints that don't have kids aren't fighting in the trenches telling people to have kids. They would be a good representation of coming in the trenches and saying, abstinence, yes. Fighting for abstinence. That would be a great, because they can be a representative of like abstinence, of saying, you know what, I've abstained. I live a monastic life. Yeah, secularists couldn't even touch that because they're living that life. But if I'm living a life where I don't have children, like little kids, and I don't have a wife, and I don't have a nuclear family, and I'm not adding to fight against the birth rate problem, I'm in the same boat with these same women who are saying, I'm staving off having kids till 35. How are you no different than me? Well, because I'm telling you. Yeah, but you're not walking that walk. How's that working for you? It's like, now I'm a contrarian, and I don't want to be that, to be honest with you. Need to go ahead and have kids. Need to have a family. I just posted a short from Abe Dinkus. Abe Dinkus said this so eloquently in so many words. Kids and family are the bedrock of society. We're having illegal immigrants come in and replace our kids. How am I going to fight this with just jargon, debate, but not actually doing this? Sounds nonsensical. So I'm going to be honest with you. We don't got all the time in the world. I'm not the youngest person in this chat, So time certainly isn't completely on my side, but it's more on my side as a man. But it's not completely on my side. Women are in a worse position. They really don't have time, especially if you're 30, 35 and getting up there. It's like, yeah, time, you can't F around. You can't F around. Especially if you're an Orthodox Christian and you're like, I'm choosing not to have kids. I'm choosing not to have a husband. I'm choosing not to get a nuclear family, but I'm going to fight against degens and tell them to do this. I, as a man, can't do that. I can't live that life. I can't do that. Now, granted, my argument would be correct. I'd be correct in telling them to have kids. But if they tell me something in the debate, they say, well, why would anybody believe you because you're not doing this yourself? I don't have a comeback for that. I honestly don't have a comeback. There's no retaliatory thing I have, no counter to that, because Christ said so. Because they don't believe in Christ. They're not Christians, most of these people, these liberals. The best thing to do is live that life instead of talking that shit. All of us can say nice things and woulda, coulda, shoulda. Life is short in this existence. And all we have is the demonstration through the walk in Christ that we have. We can debate till our face turns blue about why people should have kids. But this is why Rachel and Andrew Wilson's testimony is so powerful. And I know it's a very Protestant thing for me to say testimony. They have kids and they tell people to have kids. So it's a beautiful thing when they're on TikTok saying something like, when they respond and the person's like, well, do you have kids? Yeah, I have plenty of kids. I have daughters. We raised all these daughters. Like, there's nothing these liberals can say against that. But imagine, what if he said, no, we don't have any kids. I'm not married. And you're telling us to do that? It's like, oh, God, that would be crazy. But Andrew's like, yeah, I'm married. My wife's right here. Do you want to talk to her? Yeah, my kids. Yeah, one's grown and out of the house and all this. And like, it shuts them up. Because there's nothing they can say about that. Most of these women that complain and bitch about the birth rate don't have kids, or they deleted their kids, don't have husbands or divorced their husbands. They don't have nuclear families and aren't adding to this crisis in a positive way. But if I come to TikTok or YouTube and I debate and fight for homeschooling, fight for nuclear families or children or any of this other stuff, thankfully, nobody's asked, well, where's your family at? Where are your kids at? Oh, shit. How do I even respond to that? Now, all they did was just set me back to my default settings just from saying that, which is crazy. So to me, I think that walking in theosis is extremely important. Finding a wife should not be the most important thing in your life, to be honest with you, gentlemen. finding Christ should be the most important thing in your life. Walking towards theosis should be the first thing. But I think what's going to help you in that walk in theosis is finding your helpmate. That's going to be extremely helpful in vetting that helpmate. So it's important. Anyways, I've rambled enough. I know that there's probably just a scant few watching this podcast, but that's the thing though, is like we have to be able to offer a demonstration. We do this demonstration all the time. We're able to have a logical entailment of how we got from A to B all the time. We can do this in debates with hypotheticals. We can do this in debates with examples. We use their own worldview against them. Without Christ, it implodes. And I'll be honest with you, it does. That's why I don't use religious approaches in debates. I don't say, I'm a Christian. You should do this. They don't believe in Christ anyways. So I use their own worldview against them. So when they don't have kids, and I say, well, you're not producing kids. Thankfully, nobody's ever came to me and said, well, do you have any kids? Do you have a wife? Shit. Well, first of all, they're stupid. They're never going to ask that. They've never asked that yet. But this is what I'm saying. Walking towards theosis is extremely important. It's fundamental to have this grounding foundation. It's extremely important, but I will never get into these liberal debates with these people and say, well, Christ said, I'm never going to do that. They don't believe in him anyways. Just recently did a debate with liberals and they were like, Christ never even existed. He's a fairy tale. Like, well, Constantine wrote about, he was the most written about person at that time. By Constantine, 500 Witnesses went on about this. But anyways, I got to leave because I got to meet Father Turbo Qualls. I know probably some of you don't know who Turbo Qualls is, but I'm going to meet him tonight. And it's like at midnight. He's supposed to show up, but I'm going to try to get some pictures and stuff. So he's like the Orthodox, Orthodox Forrest Whitaker. So that's who he reminds me of. Think about it as a term of endearment. I mean that with good intention. Yeah, we'll definitely catch up. But yeah, the whole thing is going to happen next week with Dusty. He's going to get destroyed. Glenn Lawrence, hopefully I can get on the panel with him and James Sexton. That's going to be cool. Yeah, that's going to happen. Me, James Sexton, and Glenn Lawrence is going to happen. The next podcast after this one is going to have Mickey Rourke. I don't know if you guys know him. He was an Iron Man. He's going to be on the next to last, well, after the Dusty debate, after Agent Smith's debate. And then I'm going to have, actually, I can't tell you guys. I have like a celebrity guest that's going to be on the podcast as well, too, later on. If you guys are into the WWF, well, WWE, there's going to be two guys who are extremely well known. One guy doesn't age at all. So he'll be on the podcast later on with Cool Vic. And we're going to have Woke Autopsy, episode 2, and that's going to happen as well, too. Anyways, got to meet Turbo Qualls. Huge fan of this guy. The guy's a badass. The guy rocks. Gonna meet him soon in about 5 minutes because I got to, God, thankfully, the parish I'm going to is very close. But I'll talk to you guys later. Love you guys. Christ is God.